Thanks for having this call. So I will. So the presentation itself focuses on the recent experience we had offering online training for machine learning through Galaxy. So I'll try to provide some insights that we got from those activities, and hopefully they will be of use to the wider community. So yes. Just to provide some context, and I'm relying here on information that we derive from the Elixir trading platform. It's quite evident that there is an increase in machine learning publications altogether. But at the same time, if you do a gap analysis, so based on the gap analysis that we did in the Elixir trading platform, there is a significant request for additional training, both courses and material for machine learning. So this is sort of the numbers that we got. I need to mention that the slides are already on the Google Drive and also linked on Zenodo, so you can find all those numbers and refer to them later. So in order to address these gaps, and in addition to other activities that we are currently in progress, there were two main training events in the past 2 months. One was the end of June, that was organized mainly by the Elixir project and by the Galaxy project and Elixir, which had a quite interesting approach. So instead of having a purely online version, it was a mix of webinars and self-study. So it's a week-long event. I have the program on the right-hand side if you want to go through it later. On the even days, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there were actually webinars that took place at 3 CST and recorded and uploaded by the end of the day. And they tried to offer demonstrations and some content background on the topics for people to understand. The even day, so Tuesday and Thursday, it was mostly people self-studying. So trying to go through the same exercises that were presented the day before and try to see how they worked. There was always an open Slack channel and a dedicated Google document for communication. And we tried to incorporate here people from all over the world. So there were instructors both from Europe, US, and Australia who actually tried to help people participate. So generally speaking, we used both the formal Elixir feedback plus some additional questions here. Just today, Galaxy announced that they had a sort of lessons learned post, and I pasted the link here. So I really urge you to go through that. I haven't gone through the entirety of it myself in detail, but the main points are there, and I think they make some sense. In terms of feedback, and just highlighting a few of those points, the balance of content felt about right. So we had about 200 participants at peak participation. And it appears that they were pretty much okay with the format and the way that we delivered that. In preference, attending these events in person or virtually, it's quite interesting for me to see that they were quite happy at having both ways equally. So this format feels to be rather okay. In terms of overall rating, it was pretty much okay, from very good to excellent. And another interesting point for me is that a lot of participants were the first time that they actually used machine learning. So it really felt an introductory machine learning course for people who had some awareness of Galaxy, but none of machine learning. Moving from this particular event to another that took place at ECCB 2020, this showed a rather different perspective. So first of all, I have to say, I would have to thank GOBLET for supporting that. If it actually took place as a physical event, it will be quite different, because originally we were planning this to have a full day workshop. Eventually, the online versions were only 3 hours, which severely limited our possibilities. So our goal there was to have really people trying to do hands-on training for machine learning using again in Galaxy. And this time around, we had 50 people registered, 22 actually attended. The structure was much simpler, so about 20 minutes, an introduction to what is machine learning, and then about 2.5 hours doing a demo / hands-on live delivery of content to Galaxy. But before we had the event, we had 2 polls. How familiar are you with Galaxy and how familiar with the machine learning? It's quite interesting for me that the people who attended this particular workshop, they were quite proficient with machine learning. So almost over 70% had a very good understanding of machine learning, but they don't develop their own, or even they create their own code. But at the same time, the equal percentage, like 70%, have never used Galaxy before. So most of the discussion were focused on how to use Galaxy rather than how to work with machine learning. However, although we did not request formal feedback, the informal quick round of feedback that we had at the end of the workshop, it was rather positive. They quite enjoyed the overall presentation and the way that we delivered that. But again, I feel that the primary questions that we delivered were about what are the Galaxy capabilities and how they can reuse that and how they can transition their machine learning pipelines to Galaxy rather than focus on the Galaxy, on machine learning itself. So in terms of what would be the next steps in that context, so it is a gap, and there is a demand for both introductory and advanced training events based on those 2 data points, which is not sufficient, but it sort of provides a context. One of the activities that we are doing now, we are organizing a lesson hackathon to produce new material, so complementary to existing resources. We don't want to replicate that. And hopefully, in terms of delivering this as a workshop, it will probably be in a hybrid form in order to accommodate for both face-to-face events and online services. So the content itself will be delivered in that sense. And hopefully I'm in time. Thank you. And the slides are already available there.